What's going on, everybody? So in today's video, I'm going to be going over 7 different rules of real estate investing. And these are different rules that I've learned from some of the top real estate investors out there, as well as having been a real estate investor myself over the last 10 years. So some of these you might have heard of, some of these not so much. So you're definitely going to want to watch all the way to rule number 7. And that being said, before we jump into this video, please smash that like button and let's jump into rule number 1. So rule number 1 is what's called the 70% formula, or the Mayo formula, the maximum allowable offer formula. And what I like about this formula is that it's very quick and easy, and it's also very conservative. So if you're out there in the field and you think you came across a great deal, you can just very quickly use this formula and determine whether or not it has potential. And the way it works is like this. You find the after renovated value of a property, and you want to find like 2 or 3 comps. You don't want to just like use the highest comp like some people do. So try to find 2 or 3 comps of after renovated properties, and let's say that's about 300,000. You would then take that number, multiply it times 0.7. So that 30% there gives you a margin for profit, commissions, closing costs, different things like that. Kind of like a margin of safety. So you multiply that times 0.7, and then you subtract for the cost of repairs. So for example, with this property, 300,000 would be the after renovated value. Multiply that times 0.7, which would be 210,000. And then if the property needs $50,000 worth of repairs, you subtract 210,000 minus 50,000, which brings it to 160,000, which would be your maximum allowable offer. That would be the most you could pay for this property. Now, the thing to know about this formula is that it's very conservative. So 99% of the properties out there are not going to meet this criteria. However, 99% of the properties out there are not going to be good fix and flip deals. So it's going to quickly eliminate a lot of the properties out there. And even if you get in the ballpark of the 70% formula, it can still be a pretty good deal, because the 70% formula, you're typically making a pretty large profit amount. And if the property doesn't need a ton of work, or maybe you're a licensed agent so you can save $10 or $20, $30,000 on commission, it could make sense to purchase at like 0.75 or even 0.8 if the property doesn't need too much work. And if you're using that formula and you're still not sure if it's a deal or not, you should probably use a deal analyzer, and you can use my deal analyzer. It's available for free on my website. The link is below. But using a deal analyzer will get you a more specific potential profit number. So I'd recommend that. The next real estate investing rule is called the 1% rule. And this is more for rental properties. It's not for fix and flip or anything like that. But using the 1% rule will get you in a general ballpark of what a good rental deal is in terms of the potential cash flow. And the way that works is, like, let's say again you're purchasing a property for $300,000. The gross rental income would have to be 1% of that for it to be a good rental property deal. So that would mean that the property would have to have a gross monthly rent of $3,000 per month, assuming you were purchasing a $300,000 property. And again, these properties are not easy to find. However, when you're purchasing properties for cash flow, similar to fix and flips, you need to be very conservative and look at maybe 100 deals before you purchase the one. So overall, the 1% rule is just a very quick and easy way to determine if it has potential as a rental property. Some people even use the 2% rule, where if you purchase a property for $300,000, it would have to have a gross income of 2% of the purchase price, which would be $6,000. So if you want to be extra conservative, you can use that rule. Both ones work. It depends on the neighborhood. It depends on the condition of the property, different things like that. But I would try to stick to at least the 1% rule. The next real estate investing rule is called the 50% rule. And this also goes for rental properties. And this basically states that 50% of your gross rent, not including mortgage or anything like that, just 50% of the overall gross rent is going to go towards expenses of the rental property. And that could include vacancies, repairs, different things like that. But it's something to keep in mind. It's a pretty conservative number, but it's a fairly accurate number. If you want to be on top of your numbers, you should probably use this when evaluating potential rental properties. And again, these numbers are pretty conservative. So if you need to go up a percentage point or two or down a percentage point or two, it's probably not going to make a huge deal in terms of the overall real estate deal. As long as you're pretty close to those numbers, you should be good. Rule of thumb number 4, rehab properties, fix and flip properties are always going to take longer and cost more than you're expecting. And that's not to say you can't make a ton of money doing rehabbing. I've made 6 figures on some deals before. However, you just need to make sure that you factored in enough time for the rehab and you factored in enough expenses. It's always smart to add like 10 or 15% to your repair budget. And it's always smart to factor in, like another month or two for selling the property. I've had properties before where, we go under contract and then the purchaser backs out, and then I have to lower the price and keep it on the market, 2 or 3 months longer. So with rehabs, you should factor in like 6 months just to be extra conservative And then with your repair budget, always factor in like an additional 10 or 15% for different costs. Rule number 5 is that you have to ignore basically everyone when it comes to real estate investing advice, except of course the people that are actually investing in real estate. But it's amazing to me, how many people will tell you that people that have no experience whatsoever in the real estate investing field will give you every possible reason why real estate investing doesn't work. And like these people, I don't know where they're getting their opinions from. They watch the news, they might have seen an article, maybe they're bitter that you're actually taking risks and trying to do something, but people will try to discourage you, so you really have to stay focused. So the best way to do that is just surrounding yourself with real estate investing advice from actual real estate investors. And that could be real estate investing podcasts. There's plenty of great, amazing real estate investing podcasts out there. You could read books by actual real estate investors. But whatever you do, just ignore people that people try to argue with me, and I don't even tell some people that I'm investing in real estate because I already know what they're going to say. And then people that try to argue with me about real estate investing, I could call them out and say, how many deals do you do? How many flips have you done? But honestly, I found it a better use of my time just to say, yeah, that makes sense. If someone tries to tell you real estate investing doesn't work, just say, yeah, it's too competitive. Yeah, you definitely shouldn't do it. There's no more deals out there. Leave the rest of the deals for me, essentially. But just ignore people if they tell you real estate investing doesn't work, and only listen to the 1% of people that are actually investing in real estate. Rule number 6 is do not speculate when it comes to comps. So a lot of times, and this is mostly newer investors, they'll see that the market is trending upwards. And chances are, if it's trending upwards, it's probably going to continue to trend upwards for the next, 6 to 12 months or whatever it may be. However, that's a very risky strategy because something could happen, maybe like a pandemic could happen, or different things in the economy, a recession could happen, and that could, leave you hanging. If you're expecting the market to appreciate by 10 or 20%, you could be SOL, shit out of luck, if it doesn't do that. So always use comps, try to find like 3 comps and then try to use like a median average of those 3 comps. You never want to use the highest comp. You definitely don't want to add like 10 or 20% to that highest comp. So try to get like an average of the top 3 comps and use that as your after renovated value. Don't ever try to speculate. That's how a lot of people went out of business in the 2008-2009 time period. And that's just not a long-term real estate investing strategy that has ever worked. So stick to your numbers and don't speculate. Rule number 7 is that there is always another real estate deal coming around. Even if you think you lost out on the best deal and there will never be another deal, there always is another deal. I can guarantee you that. I've had it happen to me so many times where I've lost out on a deal and I just think to myself like, I'll never have another deal like that. And then like a week later, I find another amazing opportunity. So Richard Branson actually talks about this. He's talking more about like business opportunities. He says business opportunities are like the bus. There's always going to be another one coming around. And the same is true with real estate investing deals. If you're out there marketing and you're networking and you're getting like at least like 20 to 30 leads every single month that are off market, you're going to find some great opportunities no matter how competitive the market is, no matter what CNN or Fox News is making up about, real estate house flipping is up, real estate house flipping is down, real estate investors are losing money, making money, whatever it is. There's always going to be deals if you're marketing consistently. So just keep that in mind. So thanks for watching this video. And if you have any other real estate investing questions, just drop them in the comment section below. And if you're looking for some additional real estate training or mentoring, I've actually put together a few online programs which are available on my website below. And thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. All right, bye.